What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What is up? How are y'all doing today, guys? We have got to talk about season 2, episode 6 of The Last of Us. Man, this was heavy. I ain't even gonna lie. This was a heavy episode. I was not ready. I was not ready for some of this. A lot of this stuff hit a little too close to home for me personally. But man, oh man, this was probably one of the most dramatic episodes. But before we start talking more about it, let me go ahead and first of all, in case anybody's joining, I don't know if you're new here. I'm Emmanuel E-Man Noisette. I will be your host today as we talk about this season 2, episode 6 episode. And just in case you did not know, we will go into spoilers. So here it is. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. If you have not watched the episode, you're in the wrong place. You should be watching the episode. You can come back on the replay gang. That's all good. Shout out to the replay gang. But yes, we are going to go all into this episode and talk about it up, down, left, right, and all that good stuff in between. Okay, so let me see. Do I have everything? I think everything is nicely uploaded. I got all my images, but I need to see who made it out today. Let's see. Who do we have? First up, Dexter Reason. What's going on, man? Listen, man, couple thug tears almost came out. I ain't even gonna lie. Not even gonna lie. Couple thug tears. It was very, very tough. It was very, very tough. Good to see you, Paulette. How you doing? Shar, appreciate you coming through. Let's see. Trey, what is up? Corey is back. Hello, hello. We got the mod squad being held down by Kristen Pratt. Appreciate you. Sam K, how you doing? Treese, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. London is calling. My man Stamina MC is here. Gumbo, what is up? Good to see you. Man, I haven't had me a good gumbo in a long time. Eugene, man, Eugene, man, we're gonna have to talk about that too. We're gonna have to talk because Eugene. Tasha, what is up? Kristen, how you doing? Talented one, what's up, man? Good to see you. Taz is here as well. What is up? Hello, hello. Let's see. We got Tyra. Good to see you. Hello, hello. No context. How are you? Thank you so much for making it out today. Andrew, good to see you. Thank you so much. Let's see. Kiki, homie, what is up? Good to see you. Bill Chill, hello, hello. Justice, I see you as well. Thank you so much. Who else? Did I miss somebody? I think I got y'all. Theo, what is up? How are you? Good to see you. My man Lou is making it out. Shout out to everybody who's come out today. Appreciate y'all so much. All right, so let us jump into this episode. And let's talk about it here. Let me pull this up and get into this for y'all. There we go. There it is. All right. So we start off with a young Joel. So this is very, very young Joel. I think if the math was mathing, I want to say he's about 16 years old at this point. And we see him here. And it's a young Joel. He's clearly trying to console his brother Tommy, who is I don't know about y'all, but when you done messed up, okay, and you finna get it. You gonna get it when mom or dad comes home. That level of fear is something that you probably won't experience for a long time. Okay, it's not like any other kind of fear. It's that, oh my god, I didn't put the chicken up. Oh, I didn't put it outside. It's not defrosted in time when mommy comes home. I'm gonna get it. Listen, I understand exactly where Tommy was coming from. Okay, I knew exactly where he was coming from. But yes, so he was scared, not even scared, he was scared. And you know what? But big brother Joel was like, listen, man, it's all good. Ain't nothing gonna happen. I got you. Don't worry about the belt. I'm gonna take that belt for you. Which, if you think about it, this is Joel's MO from the very beginning, right? Like Joel has been that kind of guy where he's like, I'll take the pain. I'll take the shot. I'll do that to protect the person that I love. So, this is just an early sign of that. We see here that this is 1983. His dad pulls up in the police car because he is a cop. And, Joel tells his dad that he was buying some pot from a kid and got into it. But his dad already knew the situation. He just wanted to hear it from Joel. And he knew that it was actually Tommy who was the one buying the weed, and Joel had stepped in. And Joel, oh, by the way, shout out to the swordsman. Was it Tony Dalton? I think that's his name. Shout out to the swordsman. I was like, okay, all right, swordsman coming in. But Joel immediately told his dad, like, hey, you not about to hurt Tommy. Okay, you not gonna hurt him. All right, that's not what we doing this time. And his dad, which seemed kind of odd, he grabs both of them a beer. Again, Joel is probably 16 at this point. I know it was the 80s, but come on, man. Y'all already drinking at 18. And you a cop. You a whole cop, right? But anyway, his dad is kind of racking up the Parent of the Year awards, obviously, giving his son a whole beer to drink. But he's leveling with him, right? He tells him his story about how he stole some candy and his dad broke his jaw as a result. And he admits that he hasn't been the best dad, right? He's not dad of the year. But at least he don't break their jaws, right? He's not breaking their limbs and breaking their bones. But, he's not as bad as his dad was with him. So he believes that he's doing a little bit better than his father did. And he says that when it's Joel's turn, hopefully he understands that he could be a little bit better than him. And we also get a nice little peep here of where the watch actually comes from. And it appears to be, it's actually Joel's father's watch. Now, I have to say, first of all, I really enjoyed this sequence for a number of reasons. For one, I think that this, again, it tells us a lot about Joel and his upbringing, right? We see here where this well, first of all, let's start with his dad. I think his dad is a boomer, if I'm not mistaken. He's got to be a boomer, right? That boomer generation. To me, I thought it was interesting that this abusive father, right? This father that clearly has his kids shaken up to the point where they believe they about to get like a belt whooping and all this. You have this father actually sit here and have a vulnerable moment with his son. Yes, cracking the beer is definitely illegal and probably not the best, but for this father, it is a small bit of progress because Joel was ready to go. He was like, man, you gonna beat me. He wasn't expecting that can of beer to have a little powwow at that point. So I think that this is as real as it gets, right? And I think that that's the case with any parent, especially if you come from like a rough household. Parents, they always feel like that they try to do a little bit better than their own parents. And I'm guilty of that too. I'm sure my wife, I'm sure y'all parents, I'm sure everyone's parents, if you're a parent as well, we all like to believe that we're doing at least something better than what we got, right? And I mean, let's listen, even for the people out there that, maybe you're not a parent or whatever, there is no guidebook of perfect parenting. It does not exist. Okay. It doesn't exist. The world changes, the situations change, everything changes. Some things are the same for sure, but you're going to constantly, parenting is an evolving process, right? And what I like about this moment is that it shows us a hint of what always happens. One way or another, we are affected by our parents, as Joel is here. Maybe you take some of the good stuff, maybe you take some of the bad stuff, right? Depending on the kids, they might see more of the bad stuff than the good stuff, right? But what we notice here, especially with Joel, is that, this abuse is something that might also trigger his own violent streak, right? Like Joel is a violent person. This might be where it came from, right? Maybe it came from, being beat, violence begets violence. I mentioned like the hero complex, especially with Tommy and all that. But I also think that this little beer moment showed how, if someone like Joel's father can have a vulnerable moment and try to change even just a little bit, that probably said or impacted Joel, because later on we will see that he also, he has vulnerable moments as well. So I do like this. And by the way, shout out to the actors here. I mean, like Tony Dalton, fantastic. These young kids that were acting, this was just a really, really well written scene, well directed, well acted. Love it. We go back some years and we see Joel is making a trade with Seth. He's brought him a bag of Legos, and notice Seth, how he had mentioned how he was a cop back in the day, and Joel immediately like picked up on that, which probably is why Joel pushed the hell out of him later on during that New Year's party, because Joel's got them daddy issues, and he's probably like, yo, F the police, all at the same time, right? So we see here that the two guys make their trade, and Joel ends up picking vanilla, whatever, vanilla. We didn't know what it was at the time. And he also gets a bone. And we see here that he starts to get into work on repairing this guitar for Ellie. And all that time, all that effort that he put into this. Remember how I talked about this before? Joel's love language is acts of service, right? He's willing to do and put so much effort and detail into this, because this act of service it's starting to be his way of how he expresses his parental love for Ellie. And by the way, you can have more than one love language. In case anybody hadn't read that far, you can have multiple love languages. Joel's secondary love language is gifts, right? The act, giving of gifts. So his primary is definitely acts of service, but after that, he likes to give gifts, as we'll start to notice. And we see here that he did keep his daddy's watch. He went through, first of all, Joel's talented as hell to be able to carve that moth into the guitar for Ellie like that. I thought that was pretty dope. But yeah, he went through all this work. And then we see here that Ellie was being brought home by Tommy. Apparently, she burnt her arm, where she, of course, also has her bite marks. And we see here, this is where she gets her little joke about being tired of not being able to wear long sleeves. And the moment she starts to say, I'm sorry, you see Joel right here. He just immediately folds. And listen, I understand. Okay. Because Joel's folding right there, that is how every dad will fold the moment they see their little girl in pain, yeah, or just in any type of emotional wreck. So I totally understand. Ugh, just come on with the acting. Come on with it. Next day, Ellie wakes up to a birthday cake that Joel got her. Before he could cut into it, though, of course, Ellie just started putting her dirty little hands into it. And listen, hold on. I know. Okay. I already know. Ellie grew up during the apocalypse and, all that. But she went to a whole school. She was raised, with other people. She was not some Jungle Book kid. She was not raised in the wild. I know good and well Ellie had enough home training, at least by Fedra, to know that she could have waited for a fork or a knife before putting her nasty little hands in that cake. There was no excuse. None. Anyway, it's the apocalypse, so who cares, I guess, but wouldn't be my kid. I don't care. Apocalypse or not, get a fork and a plate and a napkin. You don't know what the napkins are? Go forage for it and come back. Go make some trades. No, we're not giving up home training just because it's a little apocalypse outside. Anyway, so Joel ends up giving her another surprise, which is the finished guitar. Remember, he likes to give gifts as well. She asks him to play for her because it's her birthday, and he plays the same song that we heard Ellie playing in the theater a little bit before. What was it, last episode or so? Before she started to get a little choked up. Now, we jump 1 year later. It was a whole lot of time jumps in this. We find them going down a trail. I believe Ellie is 16 at this point. She mentioned Jesse a couple of times, and Joel was like, yeah, Jesse, huh? You like Jesse? Yeah, you like it? You got a little crush on him? And she was like, yeah, about that. Nah, it ain't even like that. He was like, man, come on now. I'm a dad. I know these things. And she's like, you don't. You don't even know the half of it. But he does bring her to the next surprise, which is statue of a dinosaur. And one of the few times that I think we really see the both of them be really genuinely happy. And he says that, as she saw a museum in the distance, he said he will take her there. And while they're there, she finds one of the solar system models. And, while she's like, of course, just always been dreaming about space and loving it, Joel was like, yo, do you want to go? Do you want to go to space? And he actually brings her to the Apollo 15. She is, of course, like in just la la land at this point. She's loving all this. She grabs herself a helmet and she gets in the rocket, and she starts to imagine being actually in space. Now, as they leave out, Ellie does see something in the distance, and it's the fireflies, which of course reminds her of the big fight with the fireflies in the hospital. Move forward a little later, it's Ellie's birthday again, and this time Joel got the right kind of cake, which was chocolate. I just want to take a moment here. I know we've had this conversation before, but the best cake is yellow cake with chocolate frosting. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. Yes, you can have your red velvet. Yes, you can have your chocolate and all that stuff. I'm just letting y'all know officially, the best cake is yellow cake with milk chocolate frosting. You don't need no sprinkles. You don't need nothing else. That's it. That's my favorite cake anyway. That's my favorite. Who said no? What? Ooh, Kiki, we on the same page. Chocolate on chocolate, to me, it's redundant. Like I can't do chocolate on chocolate. That's a no for me. I like folks be like, oh, can I get the double chocolate with the chocolate fudge with the chocolate chips and the chocolate? Why don't you just go drink some Nestle quick? Go drink some chocolate because that's all you want. It don't make sense. If you don't have a complement of the flavors and the colors, like what are we doing? Anyway, I'm sorry. Anywho, he got the right cake. It was chocolate cake. I'm assuming, because we never see it, that there's yellow cake under there. That's what I'm assuming. I don't care. I hope he didn't get chocolate on chocolate for real, but I'm assuming it's yellow cake under there. And by the way, yes, Tasha, you are right. German chocolate cake is probably the one exception for chocolate on chocolate. I will mess with that. And oh man, I got to get this out too. Listen, if y'all, first of all, I hate how we be getting on these sidetracks. It's my fault. I know. German chocolate cake is great. None of that coconut nut mess. No, thank you. Take that coconut off of there. You don't need it. It is ridiculous. Who does that? Why? Coconuts on cake? That's like pineapples on pizza. No, thank you. However, let me tell you the one exception to chocolate on chocolate that will be fully acceptable. And it is for people that are in the Chicago area. Y'all already know what I'm talking about. It's that Portillo's chocolate cake. Tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying. Get you that Portillo's chocolate cake. Don't get that other cake that they got. I don't even care what the other cake flavor is. Whatever it is, you get that chocolate cake from Portillo's. What was that movie? Matilda? Was it Matilda? Remember that fat kid that had to eat all that cake on Matilda? That's how you're going to be looking when you go to Portillo's and you order the chocolate cake. I'm telling you, it is the only chocolate cake, the only chocolate on chocolate I will ever eat. That is the only one. Since we being fat, go ahead and get you that cake shake as well. If you get that cake shake from Portillo's, yikes. Just go ahead and plan your workout right after, because you're going to be in the fat. It's big back behavior, okay? This is big back behavior, I know. But that chocolate cake and or that cake shake is a whole problem. If you come into Chicago, if you're in Chicago, you already know. Portillo's, this is what you need to do. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me get back on track. Whole side quest, nothing to do. You know you fat with one little picture of cake got you on a whole run. Okay. All right. What else? Chocolate cake. What else? Oh, yeah. Oh man. So this is when Joel comes home, brings the cake, and boy, just then his daddy radar went off. It went off when he hears Ellie giggling with somebody else in that room. Boy, he turned into Ron Isley. Who the hell? What the hell is going on between the sheets in my home? Not like in that context, but you know, just in that mindset of like, how you gonna come home and you hear some giggling upstairs? No. Let me tell y'all something. Make sure my door is closed. This is easily one of every father's fears. Okay, like I'm sure that it's y'all know where I'm coming from with this. You don't want to experience this. Okay, even my daddy senses went off, and I'm watching the show. Okay, like you don't want to hear, and God willing, you don't even want to see what's behind the door with them gigglings and all that stuff. No, you don't want it. You don't want it. You know, and this is exactly why we don't have closed doors. This is exactly why we don't do closed doors. First of all, you know, every guest, if they even come in the house, has to be screened if y'all going upstairs. Hey, everybody ain't going upstairs. The what? You know, listen, I'm the only Y chromosome. Me and Kobe, we the only Y chromosomes that can come upstairs, first of all. So that right there is a thing. But even in Ellie's case, because clearly she's a special case, you don't want to hear no giggling like that. What y'all giggling about? I didn't approve no giggling. Ooh. So I understood where Joel was coming from. My man said, who? And then, of course, he done came in, found that she was fooling around, and he noticed, he's like, what the heck is that? What are y'all doing? He sees the tattoos, sees the tattoo on Ellie's arm, and Joel was like, look, so you just gonna do all the teenage stuff all at once. Just all of it. Drugs, tattoos, fooling around, experimenting and all that. But, you know, Ellie, she took that kind of, you know, messed up. And look at that. She was doing drugs too. But Ellie was like, I ain't experimenting nothing. Okay. And, you know, Joel doesn't really fully get it. Like, you can see he's kind of, he like, what, huh? You not, hi, but I thought you liked Jesse. How you not going, you just playing, right? Like, that's the new game that girls play, right? Y'all, it's the giggling game, right? Right? So he's kind of in denial, which is why he was also saying, like, listen, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know. I know, but you don't know. So Ellie already was like, man, whatever. I'm sick of this. So she went straight to the garage and she was like, I'm ready to move out. Joel was like, hey, you need to chill out. First of all, it's raining outside and you too weak. You can't even move this mattress. Sit your butt down. Okay, fine. Let's have this talk. And he was like, listen, it's my house, my rules. Okay. He went to the old school daddy rule book. Okay, you gonna live in my house. You gonna live by my rules. Okay, I don't know what you thought. Ellie was like, first of all, this ain't even your house. You don't even pay the bills. You got this house from the government. You ain't even got no job. What you talking about? My house, my rules. What do you mean? You saw the look on this man's face when he realized, I mean, yeah, okay, he got a little government assistance, times have been hard, right? She ain't have to pull his car like that. She didn't have to go that deep, with it. But once again, Joel is starting to kind of sort of have those vulnerable moments because at the end of the day, he does not want to lose Ellie. He does not want to push her away. He done killed half a hospital wing just to save this little girl. He's not going to do things to endanger this. So, of course, he was like, all right, listen, like, just give me a couple days. I'll fix up the garage, and this is where I think we see, again, Joel is coming around similar to the way his dad was kind of coming around, when he was confronted with his problems, right? And, because Joel could have really just been like, listen, you're going to do it because I said so. But Joel kind of has these abandonment issues where he is deathly afraid of losing her. And like I said, he's not going to do nothing to push her away. So this is where you start to see him come around as a parent. Plus, if you think about it, when you're living in a world like this, where you literally could die tomorrow because of a fungus, some of those arbitrary things like, oh, my 17-year-old and a 19-year-old, you don't care about them arbitrary rules. Oh, you smoke a little weed. Listen, that is minor compared to, I don't know, staying alive, keeping your loved ones close. Like, all that stuff is minor. Getting a tattoo, like, you might be tattooed with fungi tomorrow. So yes, Joel, I think, is starting to, weigh the whole situation. And this is why I say, parenting evolves as the situations change. The same things that, you might allow or disallow today might radically change if you had, I don't know, a fungal infection going around, the world or whatever. So, anywho, we do see that the tattoo is coming along. And he did notice how she had the moth, and he was kind of curious about what the moth meant. So he went to go meet up with Gail, who she did not want to talk to him. She's like, listen, I am off the clock. You see me have my little Starbucks. Leave me alone. But he was like, listen, what's up with this moth? What does it mean? She was like, I don't know, death. And he was like, oh, snaps. Okay. But now I don't think the death thing meant the same for Ellie, because if you think about it, moths also can represent other things like, searching for the light or staying close to the light or something like that. So maybe it has a more positive connotation for Ellie, but for Joel, he's like, oh, I don't like this, not good. So he's spooked about it. We go 2 years later, and now Ellie is going over her speech about what she's going to ask Joel, because listen, a lot of them excuses that Joel gave her with the fireflies, they not adding up. Okay. And she can kind of sense that something is going on with this, that it's not making sense. And after all that begging, he finally takes her out on patrol for the first time to really show her the ropes. While they're out, though, they do get a call of a situation and they take off. Ellie finds the body of an infected and we finally see Eugene. And unfortunately, Eugene got bit. He is pleading with them to let him just go back to the settlement. All he wants to do is see his wife, Gail, before he turns. And Joel, he ain't going. Joel ain't going. He's like, listen, that's against the rules. You are endangering people. It ain't happening. It's just not happening. And, Ellie on the other, and he tried to pull a gun, but he ain't had no bullets. But Ellie was like, listen, let's do the countdown hand test and see if you got any tremors. Countdown. He counted down and he passed. He passed the test. And Ellie said, yo, let's give this man a chance. And Joel was like, all right, whatever, go get the horses. And then he went and took, he told her, go get the horses. And he gave her that look. This is the same look that he gave to her when she asked him about the fireflies. And he said, I promise. So when he said, I promise, and gave that look, that was something important for Ellie. And you see, she's like, oh, okay. And as she leaves, Joel leads Eugene to a space or an area, and he immediately points the gun right behind his back. And Joel, of course, is just like, listen, it's the rules. Let me know if you got to tell her something, but you got to go. You can't come back at all. And Eugene, he's begging. All he wants to do is just hear from his wife. He just wants to see his wife. He wants that to be the last image in his mind before he goes. He already knows he has to go. And, oh, did he say, I swear? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe he said, I swear. But Joel told him, like, listen, if you love somebody, you always gonna see their face. So Eugene took a moment. He was like, I see her. And Joel was like, okay, that's it. Pow, pow. Pow, pow. That was it. And Eugene, he dead. I like that shot, by the way. I love the fact that they did that shot, didn't even, play the sound or anything, and that was it. Hold on. I think did he say I thought he said I promise. Didn't he say I promise? Yeah, I thought he said I promise. Okay. He said I promise, and Ellie said you swore to me. Okay, that's what it was. Hold on. We got Kiki here. What you got? Joel talking about how he would have known he won't change. Joel talking about how would we know he won't change when he spent hours with Tess and didn't know she was bitten earlier. All he had to do was tie his hands up and cover his mouth. As you rightfully pointed out, no, you're all good. You're all good. As you rightfully pointed out, Kiki, Joel had options. They had a lot of options. You could have made that man walk all the way back. And if he started twitching, pow, right there, you could have done a whole lot. You could have put him on the second horse, tie him up, have Ellie ride behind. You had options. And I think that's what makes Joel's decision not good. And Ellie made a good case. She was like, listen, like, we know he has about an hour. Like, this is something known. This is something we've seen all the way from episode 1, where they were having the test for people that were infected. So Joel, I think he was doing a lot more than he needed to for other reasons. I don't think he was doing that for like the good of it or whatever. But let's see. Okay, so yeah, we got to the point where he killed Eugene, and of course, he knows what he did was wrong. Joel knows what he did was wrong, but Joel is not a good person. like overall, right? He's not a good person. He has done shady things in the past. He has lied in the past. He's killed in the past. All this stuff weighs on him over time. And then we see Ellie. She saw what Joel did, and ooh, she is mortified. She's mortified at the fact that obviously, he killed Eugene. But then as Joel is sitting here telling her, like, hey, I'm a radio ahead. Hey, I'm gonna tell Gail what happened. I'm gonna let her know. I'll talk to her. Hey, by the way, I had no choice. Ellie is so messed up from what he did. And let me tell you something. Yes, lying is bad, right? But woo, when you find out that someone you care about has lied to your face, and when you really find out how they lie, like when you find out their tells, like let's just say, when they lie, they scratch themselves a little bit, like, oh yeah, I'll do that. When you find out, then you're gonna start thinking about every time they scratched their face and they told you something. And that's what Ellie was doing right here. Ellie was just kind of like, you looked at me, you told me, you promised, and then you did this, and then you gonna have the nerve to double down on that lie. How long have you been doubling down on the lies to me? Ooh, boy. Joel done messed up. Listen, I'm not advocating lying. I'm gonna say if you're gonna lie, you got to be a better liar than that. Joel is a terrible liar. Terrible liar. And I also thought it was very ironic for us to see Eugene being carried off the same way we just saw Joel get carried off when he passed away as well. Anyway, we see Joel here and he's starting to tell Gail that Eugene was brave and he was ready to go and he loved her and he killed himself just to be a hero and all that stuff after being bitten. Ellie's like, look at this mother effer. Look at this. Look at her face. She was like, this mofo is lying through his teethuses. Oh my God. And he was just like, hey, it's all good, like he loved you. It's fine, And then he even hugged her and everything. Listen, this should not have been done like this, in my opinion. If I'm Joel, I'm like, hey, Ellie, go to your room. Just go in there. Let me handle this. And you could have left it at that. You had to make this a whole show. And just as this is happening, Ellie was like, hell no. Hell to the no. It's snitching time because Joel is a whole lie. And she told Gail the truth, nothing but the truth, and all that. And boy, just snitchy snitch. Boy. Smack. That was for Joel. Smack. Because Gail was sick of him. And boy, man, she just told all the business, just everything. She was like, no, you did this to Eugene. Then you killed him and you put a bullet through her head and all of that. And of course, Gail is broken up. Now, before we go into this, obviously, this was a pretty big scene. Let's just get a couple things straight because this is complicated. Yes, Joel was wrong for what he did to Eugene. Yes, there's no question about it. Like I said, Joel has a history of doing this shady stuff to other people in the past. He's lied, he's killed. Joel's not a great guy, okay? Now, I do believe that in some way, maybe in Joel's mind, he killed Eugene maybe to protect Ellie in some way. Maybe he did it in a way to kind of like, I don't know. Maybe in his mind, he thought, oh, what if Eugene gets infected and then he bites Ellie and then Ellie's found out and her secret and all. I don't know. Either way, Joel was wrong for what he did to Eugene. Either way, doesn't really matter, right? Yes, he was also very wrong for lying to her as well, right? We know Joel is selfish. He was selfish in the last episode, in the season finale of last season. I believe that he was absolutely wrong for his decision because he was willing to lie and, you know, save Ellie's life, taking that decision away from her, but it was ultimately for him. It was always for him because of his trauma of losing his daughter. So, and again, this goes right back to Joel when he was a young kid. He will lie to protect people that he loves, that he, cares about. But Ellie didn't have to be no snitch. Okay. Ellie, I was sitting there like, oh my God, Ellie, shut up. Shut up, Ellie, shut up. I'm not saying she was wrong for feeling the way that she felt because Joel was wrong, right? That promise thing is something between them that her and Joel had, and it really meant a lot to her when he promised her stuff. And once he gave her that look and promised that, she was like, she was just looking at him like, oh, so that's how you lie. Okay, cool. Got it. And it's hard to deal with broken trust. When trust is broken, that is definitely something that takes so much work and effort and time to rebuild. And I just think Ellie, while she was justified in her feelings, she didn't have to bring Gail into the situation because she could have spared Gail the ugly truth, right? And she only did that. She only snitched, not to give Gail any type of peace or relief. She did that to hurt Joel. So I'm just saying, Gail caught a stray, and she didn't deserve to catch that stray just because Ellie was mad at Joel. If you're going to be mad at Joel, take it out on Joel. When y'all in private, y'all have y'all fight. Y'all have y'all. That's fine. You justified it. You ain't have to hit the bystander like that. That's all I'm saying. Gail didn't deserve that. And she just literally found out her husband just died. She just found that out. She couldn't even mourn right. Ooh. But now we also know while Gail, while she's like, ooh, I hate you. Hey, Joel, I hate your guts. We now know. And it makes sense. It makes sense. So anyway, I think this is a classic example of hurt people hurting people, and if you really start to notice, Ellie is really starting to take after Joel. Like, she's becoming as violent as him. She is just really starting to do a whole lot right after him, which is probably the theme of this episode, which is that, like, we are summations of our parents, but we try to be a little bit better. We try. Anyway, now we're moving forward 9 months in advance, 9 months later, and we're back to the New Year's celebration. And this is now happening from Joel's perspective. We see him looking at Jesse and and Ellie and Maria. She was talking about how Joel, she was like, yo, family helps each other out. And I think Joel really took that to heart because that once he saw Seth, being all homophobic and stuff, that's probably what propelled him. And because, F the police. And that's why he pushed him when he went after Ellie. And we see here that scene where it looked like Ellie had just kind of went back to the garage and ignored Joel, but it looks like, nah, she actually did come back to talk to him. And, he asked her about Dina. And by the way, this is classic, how could I say, emotionally unstable daddy talk. When you're not comfortable and you don't know how to talk to your kids, you ask about a completely separate situation, not the issue at hand. Okay, because the issue at hand is the fact that he lied to her and they have issues. They're not talking about that. He'd rather ask, like, hey, so what's up with you and Dina? You and Dina, y'all cool? Y'all, hey, that your little girlfriend? Huh? Yeah. And then he tried to compliment him, like, yo, Dina be lucky to have you. Ellie didn't care about none of that. Ellie was just like, listen, you lied. Okay. You lied. And she asked him straight up about the fireflies. And she told him straight up, listen, if you lie again, we are done. And this is where I would say unintentionally, Ellie is using Joel's trauma against him, right? Now, she doesn't know, she obviously doesn't know that. But again, because Joel does not want to lose another daughter, he's forced to tell her the truth, despite how painful it is for him. Shout out to my man Pedro and Bella. Acting. Woo. So he finally admits that everything, including that the cure could have been made. There were no other immune people. And Ellie is mad. She's mad because Joel robbed her of that choice, robbed her of her autonomy at that point, and she believes that it was her purpose. She thought that it was her purpose to really, be the cure and to help the world. And he was like, you know what? Listen, if everything went back the way it was and I had a second chance, guess what? Bop, 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 I do it again. Bop, 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 I do it again. He don't care. Okay? He already knows. He is selfish to the core because he loves her, right? She even said that he was selfish. He was like, nah, I love you. And I think both things are true. He does love her. And he is selfish. And that's why he made the decision that he did. And that's why he's been living with the lie that he's been living with all this time. So, this is clearly something that they had to talk about. And now, of course, with that said, I mean, he also goes and says, what is he also talked about how, man, one day, if you have one of your own kids, he hoped that she'll be a little bit better than him. And I was like, dang, there goes that whole full circle thing all over again with parents, right? Because his dad had that little bit of progress, right? That little bit of progress. He didn't beat his tail, but he had that little moment, told his son, like, yo, I just hope that you could be a little bit better than me, because I was hopefully a little better than my dad. And now Joel is passing that down on to her. Oh, man. And she was like, listen, I don't think I could forgive you, but I am willing to at least try. And it's nice to at least hear and see that they kind of sort of ended things, because this was like the last conversation they really had. It's not perfect. And that's the thing. A lot of times, especially when you have dysfunctional families, or dysfunctional parents, it's far from perfect, but sometimes you got to just try. Sometimes. I'm not saying every time, because listen, some things you need to just move away. You need to move away, and you need to love from far away, right? But the fact that she is at least willing to try to make some amends, I think that was very commendable on her end. And now we see, I think this is a present day, we see her going back to the theater as well. But woo wait, man, this was thick. This was a thick episode. I loved and I think this also explains why she had those coffee beans at the very end that she put on his grave, because apparently he traded something crazy just to get those that coffee. But anyway, guys, this is the point where I need y'all to let me know, what was your rating for episode 6. While you guys are doing that, I will sit here and think about and give you my review of the episode. Easily one of the most dramatic episodes out. I think that what we would like to see with action and suspense and all that, we got with an acting class. I think that this is also probably one of the reasons why, the showrunners might have picked these two actors, Bella Ramsey and Pedro Pascal, because you need real actors to carry emotional loads like this. I mean, I felt all of this. I felt all the pain. I felt all the trauma. I thought they did an excellent job conveying that. And shout out to the writing. I think someone said that some of these lines were straight from the game. I think, but even if it was, you still got to act it out. I liked how the theme, the parental themes in this, like how it's circular and how, yes, like you can come from this household, and even though you think you're doing better, you still might pick up some bad habits, but at the same time, you might still do better things too. So I love the complexity with that. I'm, you know what, I'll be a little biased just because I can relate as a parent, as a father. I'm gonna give this episode a 9 out of 10. I really appreciated this. If you're going to give us filler type of episodes, this is the good kind of filler that you want. And I don't mean filler, because I know usually we say filler as if it's a waste of time, but this is actually a good filler because it fills in information that we actually needed to understand why did Ellie act the way that she did. When did she actually find out? This is the question that we asked right after, the last episode. Like, yo, she said she knew. When did she know? Now we know. So I love this. Great episode. But let's see, where do y'all fall on this? Let's see how the people feel. We have 9, 10. Hold on, Johnny, that's a 9 for you? Man, you've been giving this show a couple 6s, man, but okay. Let's see, 10, 9, 9.5, 9, 7.7, 8.5, 8.75, 9, 10, 7, 9, 10. Oh, we know. Let's see, 9, 8, 9, 8.5 to a 9. 8, 8.5, 8, 8, and a 8. Who else? I got an 8 and a 9. Okay, cool. So we enjoyed the episode. A very solid episode. Hold on, Talented, what you got? Got to bring up old stuff. He should not have said they would have made a cure. They wanted to try some ish, and and she needed to be dead to try. Nope. You know what? And that's not a bad point. I mean, because I did kind of like second guess. I was like, how did you know that they were going to make the cure? Because I thought it was uncertain. I thought they were like, maybe, maybe they can make a cure, but they have to find out. So I don't know if they retconned that for some reason or whatever, but that's not a bad point at all. Thank you so much for bringing that up. All right, guys, I think that is all we got for tonight. Man, solid episode. I'm really excited for this. I'm happy that they did this. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. We will do our best to is next week Memorial Day? Hold on now. When is Memorial Day? Is that Friday? No, that's next Monday. Yeah, next Monday. Huh. Do we want to do some on Memorial Day? I don't know. Yes. Everybody gonna be barbecuing and stuff, right? Like, we'll see. We'll play it by ear. If y'all don't see me on Monday, I'll be back on Tuesday. But anyway, guys, please, have yourselves a great rest of the week. Y'all already know we'll meet up on Friday, talk about the news from the week, all that good stuff. But yeah, I think that covers everything. Anyway, guys, thank you again so much. I appreciate. Wait. Hold on. Is it your birthday for real? Oh, Monday is your birthday. Okay, cool. Happy pre-birthday to Kristen. And we'll also give you another birthday shout on Friday as well. But happy early birthday to you, ma'am. All right, guys, that is all I got. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your week. You know the routine. Wash your hands, wash your butts, and everything in between. Until next time, see you guys later. Peace.